Hi everyone! Welcome to episode 41 of the Queen City Yarn Dye to Knit podcast. I'm Kristen, and this is a podcast about knitting and yarn dyeing and spinning and weaving and pretty much just my adventures in making things. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is Wednesday, April the 6th, and I have quite a few things to chat with you about. Not many finished objects, only one, but I do have a lot of works in progress to share with you today, and then some Queen City Yarn chat at the end. So let's get started. Let me first tell you where you can find me online. You can find me on Instagram as Kristen C and also Queen City Yarn. You can find me on Ravelry as Kristen. You can find all of the Queen City Yarn over at queencityyarn.com, as well as the Etsy outlet over on Etsy, Queen City Yarn on Etsy. And then you can find all of my designs, Kristen Clement Designs, at queencityyarn.com and also over on Ravelry. So let's get started with my one and only finished object for the week, but it is very cute. This is a little gnome. This is a design by Imagined Landscapes, and this is No Fun Like Gnome Fun is the pattern that I used. I used Queen City Yarn in Note a Sock, and when I first knit this little gnome, I used rose gold for the body, which you can see down on the bottom, and she was very cute, but she looked like she was naked. So I decided she needed a little hand knit sweater, which I then embellished with some, I guess, embroidery stitches, but just using yarn and just kind of making her some little hearts and stars kind of on there. So the colors I used for her body, I used rose gold, which made her look like she was naked. For her sweater, I used raspberry beret. For her nose and braids, I used naked, which is just undyed, and also for her little hands. And then the hat, I have absolutely no idea. I initially thought that it was Mountain Orchard by Queen City Yarn, but I'm not positive that that is what it is. So it's pretty though, and she's very cute. My daughter really wanted to take this one, but I told her that I would knit her own, because this one is meant to live in my office with my other little office gnomes. And again, like last time, I actually, before I sewed up her bottom or finished these decreases on her bottom, I stuck a little button that was the perfect circumference to fill her bum. So she sits really nicely over on my little desk with her little office gnome friends. So that is finished, and that is the only finished thing that I have to share with you this week. I could have finished some other things, but I did not. I instead cast on new things. So let's start with socks. So I've been showing you this gorgeous pair of socks that I've been working on. The yarn is by the Yarn Jar, and this is the colorway Scholarly. So this is what I have left of the ball, and I finished the 2 tubes for my brother's birthday socks, but I have not yet cut in the heels. So that is on the list of things to do. I just haven't done it yet, and I really intended to do that, so I'd have another finish to show you this week, but it didn't happen. Instead, I cast on more socks and worked a little bit on socks that were already on the needles. So I'll show you the ones that I've been working on that I have shared with you before. These are my purse socks, and I have made quite a bit of progress on the second tube. This yarn is from Nomadic Yarns, and the colorway is Merry Kitschmas, and it's the Brit sock base, which is a 80% superwash BFL, 20% nylon. I really like the base. It is it's nice. It's got a little bit of a toothy feel, but I think it's gonna hold up really well. And it's a little it's a 2-ply, so it's bouncy and really nice to work with. So I have the first tube done, which I've shown you before. These are going to be kind of shorter, like booty kind of socks. And I've made quite a bit of progress on the second one. So I've only got about 4 inches, including the toe left. And that will be ready for heels as well. So I've worked a little bit on those. And then I picked up a pair that I haven't worked on in a long time. And this was the socks that were just sitting on my desk for when I was in meetings, Queen City meetings and stuff via Zoom. And these are my stand socks, and these are another Afterthought heel sock. All 3 of these pairs of socks have been knit in the same way, kind of an Afterthought tube. So I start with a cast on and knit a 1x1 rib. I do a tubular cast on all my socks because I love how stretchy it is, but I also love how clean it is. It doesn't have any of that flare that you get from some of the stretchy cast-ons. So I just knit a tube, and I'm using US 2.25 needles on all 3 of these pairs of socks. So I got the first tube done. I'm not sure if I've shown you the first tube being completed yet, but that first tube is done. And I cast on the second one, and I've made quite a bit of progress on this since casting it on. I took this with me down to my parents this past weekend when I helped my dad with his very first art show, where he was selling some of his gorgeous hand-turned bowls and pens and things like that. So I took these and knit on them while I was there helping him out. The yarn that I am using for these socks is Queen City yarn, Noda sock. This top colorway, which is what I've used to cast on, is Pollen Season, and the main colorway is Stand. And I will cut the heels in also with Pollen Season. So I've been working on those. I'm going to be writing up a blog post about like the Afterthought heel like tube sock that I've been working on, just to kind of share written down online with like what techniques I use and how to go about doing that. In case you're interested, you can look for that to go up on the Queen City Yarn blog in the next week and a half. So the reason why I didn't finish the yarn jar socks is because I cast on a new pair of socks. And I really have been wearing my Sporty Shorty socks a lot. That's probably the pair that I reach for the most in my drawer. And so I decided to cast on a new pair. And that is, the Sporty Shorty socks is a pattern that I released last year, which is a short, kind of like sneaker sock. It has a lifted, or a higher cuff in the back that is created using German short rows, and I wanted another pair. I've got 2 pairs that are mine, and I really would like to knit a whole bunch of pairs because, like I said, they're those socks, the short socks that I grab the most because they stay on really, really well and they don't slide down in my sneaker. So I cast on the cuff. The yarn that I'm using I've had in my stash for a while. It is by my friend Joan, who is Lollipop Yarn, and this is a colorway called Whistlin' Dixie, and it's got purples and blues and grays, and there's a speckled stripe in there too. I haven't actually gotten into the self-striping yet. I just finished the cuff and I am ready to join the self-striping. I'm actually going to use the self-striping for the heel and everything. I did use the coordinating ball that came with this colorway for the cuff, and I may again use it for the toe. I haven't decided yet, but I'm ready to start a little bit of leg and then the heel on that. So that's why those yarn jar socks aren't done, because I felt like I needed to cast on a new pair because there wasn't enough socks on the needles. And then I have 2 garments on the needles. One I showed you last episode, and that is the No Frills pullover by Petite Knits. This is, I'm working on this using Queen City yarn, Queen's Road, which is our merino cashmere nylon base, held along with our Madison Park mohair, which is a mohair silk base. And last time I was just only like an inch after the sleeve separation. Today I am literally ready to change my needles to the smaller size and begin working on my rib. I have decided not to do, there's a decrease round written in the pattern, there's a decrease round before the rib. I've decided not to do that decrease round. I just want to keep it straight, and so I'm ready to start that rib the next time I pick it up. And I'm using the colorway Little Traverse Tulips, and I believe that's the name of the colorway. It is the color, this exclusive colorway that we did for Wool and Honey Sleeping Bear Yarn Club last April, and so it's pretty fitting that I am working on this in April, but I'm really loving the way this colorway is working up. I am alternating skeins, or I was until I'm ready now to do the rib, and I'm just going to work the rib in one skein of yarn, or one skein of each held together instead of alternating. I think the knits and the purls will break things up enough that we shouldn't have any kind of like flashing or pooling, since it is a variegated yarn. This is what it looks like balled up. You can notice these are hand wound balls because, like I mentioned last time, my drive band for my winder broke. But thankfully, when I was home this past weekend, I had gotten some of the tubing that you're supposed to use to create a new drive band, and I brought the tubing and showed my dad the YouTube video on how to do it, and he made some new drive bands. So I have one for myself, we made one for Mom, and we also made one for Janice because she has the same kind of winder. And then there's an extra one that is just a little short, but it will work if necessary. It was kind of our learning one where we had to cut and then reheat and stick the ends together. So it's just a little bit shorter than called for, but it stretches and it works. So if mine breaks, then I have kind of like a just in case backup until I can make some more. But it wasn't hard to make. It was just trying to get the ends together because it's made out of like plastic tubing. So anyway, no more hand winding balls for me. It's going to be all yarn cakes from the ball winder all the time if I can help it from now on. So next I have a new cast on. This is my latest cast on. I cast this on this weekend when I was home visiting. My mom and I actually purchased yarn for this, I want to say it was last summer. Yeah, last summer, because my brother and sister-in-law had given her a gift certificate to Black Mountain for Mother's Day, and then they gave me one for my birthday last year. And so during the summer when my parents came, was it last? Maybe the year before last. I don't remember when it was. It wasn't last year. It was the year before last. Anyway, my parents came to visit, and Mom and I went up to Black Mountain, and we used our gift certificates and bought some Spin Cycle. And this is the Spin Cycle. This is dyed in the wool. Let me grab the tags. Right. This is dyed in the wool Spin Cycle. And I bought both skeins from Black Mountain Yarn Shop. One skein, which this one is the one with all the blues. This is called Lapis. It's beautiful. and I just absolutely am enjoying working with it so much. The other skein is called Labradorite, I guess is what it's called. This has a lot of the same blues, but it also has some tans and browns in it. It's working up really pretty. Also, I did hand wind these, but I used a Nasta pen, and they turned out pretty. So I did not pull from the center. I'm pulling from the outside still, but I think I could, because I think I did a pretty good job using the Nasta pen on these. So the pattern that I am working on is, it is a t-shirt by Andrea Mowry, and it's called VELLICHOR. And it is a little bit cropped, boxy t-shirt design, and it is so fun to work. So it uses 2 yarns. So I'm using that Spin Cycle yarn, and then I'm also using Queen City Yarn Berry Hill, which is our exclusive base that we have milled up in the North Carolina mountains, and I'm using the Naked. I just really loved the way that it was playing with the Spin Cycle. I think both yarns are really shining in this design so far. It is so much fun to work on. I have just started. It's got this beautiful rib with a little cable twist that continues up through the pattern, and then it's got these lines of the Spin Cycle, and the Berry Hill and Spin Cycle are a combination made in heaven. They are beautiful together. They just are squishy, and it's making just the most beautiful fabric. I'm so pleased with this. So I cast it on, let's see, Mom and I swatched Friday night after I got to Maryland, and then Saturday after we finished helping my dad with his show and kind of relaxed for a few, Saturday night we cast on. It took forever to cast on because it's a lot of stitches. I'm making, it's intended to be worn with, I believe, like 10 to 12 inches of positive ease, 8 to 12 inches of positive ease. So I am doing the 52¼ inch bust, so that will give me 12 inches of positive ease. And I'm just envisioning wearing this with shorts and leggings and jeans and over a dress and all the things. I think it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be really lightweight. The Spin Cycle and the Berry Hill are both very lightweight yarns, and I think it's just going to be really, really gorgeous tee when it's all done, and I'm enjoying working on it so much. So, but the cast on was a German twisted cast on, which is not a cast on that I use very often because I just love that tubular cast on so much. I generally will change a rib so that I can use to a 1x1 so that I can use that cast on. But I decided to do the German twisted cast on for this. I think it is stretchy enough. I did have to like look at a video for a few minutes to remember, you know, the technique for casting on. But once I did it, I remembered, and I was able to cast on all of them. But boy, it took a long time to cast all those stitches on. So it's going to be slow going because there are a lot of stitches on the needles because there is so much positive ease in the garment. But I have a feeling I'm going to love every minute of it. So far, I have been using the Labradorite colorway, and I will begin working in this lapis colorway soon. So it'll be like a few stripes of this one and then one of that, I believe is how it works. But anyway, so that is my new cast on, and that is all of the whips that are currently getting love, because there are more that just are not actually getting worked on right now, and that's okay. So I'm drinking coffee today. I'm using this Jenny the Potter mug, which I love. It's got a hummingbird on it. I love hummingbirds so much. So, coffee time. Oh, actually, I do have one more whip. Duh. It's the one I was working on when I was chatting in the beginning, and it is my blanket, which I probably shouldn't have been working on because I was at the end of a row, but I got only this many stitches done. So mid-row, but it's not like I could really stretch it out anyway. I've made quite a bit of progress on this blanket. This is the Cozy Comfort Throw by A Homespun House, is the designer of the pattern, and it is a beautiful garter stitch blanket. The last time, the first time I showed you, and it was the last time, I was somewhere about here. So I have worked on this quite a bit. I've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more mini skeins into it. And I really like the way that the gradient is working out. I think it's going to be such a beautiful, beautiful blanket. I like the drape of the fabric and everything. It's going to be warm, but not too heavy, I think. So I'm using the Queen City Yarn 2021 Advent Calendar, which I wound up into this ginormous cake of yarn before my drive band broke. And with this, I am holding Queen City Yarn Noda Sock in Birthday Suit, which is our undyed. I actually have a cone of that, and I'm holding that along with this big cake of yarn, and I'm just working through all of the mini skeins. So when I made this cake, I just joined the mini skeins together by using a slip knot. So when I come to the slip knot, I'm just taking that out and I'm holding the tail of the skein, like the mini skein that's ending, with the new skein with the undyed, and I'm just knitting them all three, holding all three together and calling that ends woven in. So that way at the end of this I won't have any ends to weave in, because I think if I did, I would not enjoy it, and I think that I wouldn't want to do another one. And right now I'm enjoying it so much that I could see myself doing this again and again. It's nice because of the size that it is now. It's been a little chilly in the evenings. Well, I mean, it's still been chilly during the days some too, but I can kind of like drape it over my lap and it keeps me a little bit warm. And yeah, it's just super easy, mindless knitting. So that is my Cozy Comfort Throw. And that is all of the whips. So I guess I only have a couple kind of like administrative things to chat with you about. I'm going to grab the March Queen City Yarn Studio Series and be right. Okay, so I wanted to bring over the Queen City Yarn March Studio Series shipment because it's absolutely gorgeous. This colorway is called Peter Rabbit, and I love it. It's like a peachy with a mint, and then it's got some like really gorgeous fine speckles, which I just love speckles. So this is the March Studio Series colorway, Peter Rabbit. The studios, this is on Biddleville DK, by the way, which is the base that I'm receiving my club shipments on. You can choose Biddleville DK or Noda Sock, depending on your heart's desire for the studio series. Memberships are open. You can view the second quarter mood board over at queencityyarn.com and sign up for a subscription. You can sign up for like 1 month or 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, I believe. And if you sign up for a longer duration, then there's more savings. So this is the March colorway. If you sign up by April 15th, you can receive April's shipment. If you sign up after the 15th, then you'll receive the next month's shipment. So that's that. And then the other Queen City Yarn thing I wanted to talk to you about is another upcoming show. So, I have been going to Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival with my mom almost every year. There were a couple of years that I wasn't able to go, like because of a move or because of a baby. Like my son was born at the end of May, so the year that he was born, I was not able to go to Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. But my mom and I have always made it celebration weekend, celebrating my birthday and celebrating Mother's Day. And this year we're going again. We will be at the festival on Saturday. It's possible that my daughter will come. She's wanting to, but we'll see. She has soccer and things like that, so I'm hoping that she will stay home with my husband. But my mom and I will definitely be there on Saturday, and that is May the 7th, and it's down in West Friendship, Maryland. So if you're able to come, that would be amazing. If you see me, say hi, because I love to meet new people. And then, so I will be at Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. Janice is going to be there as well. She is going early, and the reason why is because she's going to be vending at Yarncentric, which is a new indie pop-up show that's happening before Maryland Sheep and Wool. And it is going to be held in Mount Airy, Maryland, and you can get tickets online over at Yarncentric.com. So there are tickets available online. It's going to be happening from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it is a smaller indie vending market, like smaller than Maryland Sheep and Wool. And yeah, so Janice is going to be there. She's going to have all the Queen City yarn. She's going to have Coleman. My t-shirt, the Fresh Favorite tee, is releasing the day before. So this Yarncentric is happening on Friday, May the 6th from 10 to 4. The Fresh Favorite tee will be released on May the 5th, and she will have tons of Coleman ready to kit up for that t-shirt pattern, as well as some other samples in that new Coleman base, which are absolutely gorgeous. I'm dying to knit another Coleman garment for myself because I just love the way that yarn feels on my skin. I love the way it moves, and I'm really looking forward to wearing it in the summertime. So yeah, Janice is going to be at Yarncentric, and I won't be at that show. My kids will be in school, and I'll have to be doing mom kind of things like that, but I will be at Maryland Sheep and Wool on Saturday, and Janice will be too. So yeah, that's the fun happenings with Queen City Yarn. Janice has got everything moved into the new office and studio space, and is really it looks amazing, and I know she is eager to get into the dye studio and start dyeing now that water and electricity and things like that are happening in there. So I guess that's it for today. So yeah, until next time, happy knitting. Bye.